right on the landing ground.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is The Morning Moment. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. Today I want to recount a little episode that I had recently, and I entitle it The Border. Last week, or probably the week before, we took a trip to the US. We are extremely fortunate in that particular instance as we live so close to the US border. Anyway, we spent the day doing some shopping. Note, it took less than half a minute to cross the US border once it became our turn. On our return to the Socialist Republic of Canada, we were, as usual, presented with the obligatory bilingual official with the official questions. After asking our citizenship, even though we'd handed him a Canadian passport, they then proceeded to go through their usual script. You know the drill. How long have you been out of the country? What was the purpose of your visit? I don't really think they have the right to ask those questions, but they do anyway. As usual, after asking a number of leading questions, always starting with Canada with guns and always ending with food, the result is nearly always the same. You get pulled to the side and you have to go inside to pay taxes. We Canadians, I feel, and this is my personal view, are subject to this constant indignity, and the questions continue. At this point, my wife takes the lead, as I cannot abide these mini Hitlers, because that's what I call them. They start their routine interrogation. What did you buy? Where? What was the most expensive item? Yada, yada, yada. It continues on like that. We don't consider that food. That is junk food. We continue on. The communist state then makes its determination what's on the approved list and what's not. My silence at this point is deafening. My wife just complies and bends to their warped views. The conversation continues. You can't bring in X, but you can bring in Y. And it went on and on and on. All the while, going on behind us were another group of harmless Canadian citizens getting the third degree in interrogation. One person was in a dispute with another mini Hitler about the origin of a trailer that he had bought, and it appeared that he had already paid the import duties prior to bringing it back to Canada. But they still insisted that it had to have import duty tax. Well, that's what you get when you bring things into a socialist republic and they're short of money. And that dispute went on outside of my earshot, outside. At the same time, where we were being interrogated, one of the officials walked by nonchalantly carrying a bag of garden fertilizer. Can you believe this, folks? A bag of garden fertilizer confiscated from a law-abiding Canadian citizen. So we finally come to the end where we have to pay taxes, an additional $50, I might add, for daring to bring in to our Socialist Republic non-approved US merchandise. Here's my comment. This is supposed to be a NAFTA zone. That means zero taxes. I really don't think they should have the right to tax us on goods and services we have bought and paid US tax on. We've already paid one set of taxes. We shouldn't have to pay two. The comments they made were nonetheless a disgrace in my eyes. One comment was, and get this, we'd try and discourage people from bringing things back. What? Yes, you heard me right. We try and discourage people from bringing things back. These people on the border who are civil servants, let's get that straight, they're civil servants, are completely out of control. What they should be doing in my eyes is looking for drugs and citizens trying to sneak in to this country from the United States, which is somewhat of a joke, but there you are. But they seem far more concerned about illicit beer, cigarettes, than looking for drugs. While we were there, on our crossing alone, there must have been 20 to 30 of these people swanning around, treating Canadian citizens as third-class people. Newsflash, as far as I'm concerned. Newsflash. Border Patrol folks, you work for me, not the other way round. With their guns strapped round their waists, they think they're God. I think, and this is my personal view, the federal government of Canada is completely out of control. Why is it that they have the right to protect themselves, i.e. carry guns? Remember, the first question that you are asked when you cross back into the Socialist Republic of Canada is, Have you any guns or ammunition? This comment will freak Canadians out, but I believe we should have the right to bear arms in Canada. This is a nonsense. This is a way of controlling the population, and I will continue to push for this till my dying breath. I don't personally have a gun, but I don't think it's a problem that you should have the right to have a gun. I live in the countryside where there are bears, and we can't even have a gun to shoot bears or defend ourselves from wild animals, coyotes and such like. Going back to the border, it's high time that Canadians ask for a detailed investigation into A, the attitudes that these civil servants have towards Canadian citizens who employ them, namely you and me, and B, the number of folk that occupy such positions and what their actual function is. To my mind, they would be far better served on the Manitoba, Saskatchewan and Alberta boarding crossings, stopping so-called refugees crossing into Canada rather than welcoming them with open arms. Rather than what their current actions are, namely intimidating hard-working Canadians, bringing in a bag of US fertiliser rather than putting the crap that they sell in Canada at inflated prices on their backyards. Makes you think, doesn't it? Who's working for who? MPs represent us, and they do what they want. Now it seems these mini-Hitlers do the same. Oh, Canada, glorious and free. Only if you toe the official line, that is. Your thoughts? You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you will find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, Gab, and email. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on the links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all my morning moments on Spreaker.com under A Radio. That's EHRADIO, A Radio. And please click on the like button. You can find all my podcasts and all my morning moments at aradio.wordpress.com. Click on the Morning Moments tab.